In this video, I want to take you guys through a plethora of mostly PlayStation 5, but also a PlayStation 4 game updates. Some major games. Ratchet and Clank has gotten a brand new trailer, that's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade has gotten some more details. Grand Theft Auto 5 is seeing another release, baby! It's coming to the PlayStation 5, and we got a release date on that. And Biome has gotten a brand new trailer as well. More on that at the end of this video. But first of all, we got the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart weapons and traversal trailer. Along with that, there's an in-depth post on the PlayStation blog. Now, obviously, if you've played Ratchet and Clank in the past, you know that weapons are always going to be a big part of the game. I mean, when you have a throwable disco ball that makes your enemies start dancing, yeah, these weapons in Ratchet and Clank get pretty zany at times and pretty off the wall, but that's what makes it so charming, because the weapons get absolutely crazy. And it looks like that's absolutely going to be retained in Ratchet & Clank A Rift Apart. In the PlayStation blog, Senior Community Manager Aaron Jason Espinoza talked a little bit about the game and the various weapons that we are going to see in the game, noting, Ratchet & Clank features our signature roster of powerful weapons, including classics like the cutting-edge buzz blades to new destructive tools such as Black Hole Storm and Negatron Collider. We're also amping up immersion by using the unique features of the DualSense wireless controller, pull the adaptive triggers all or halfway for specific weapons to unleash alternating shots of devastation, feel the force behind every blast through the controller's haptic feedback, and hear the clicks and ticks of your weapons via the built-in speakers. In addition to Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart's staggering arsenal of weapons, we've also given Ratchet, and by extension Rivet, some new moves to use in and out of combat. Use the Rift Tether to transport yourself across battlefields, or activate the Phantom Dash to safely dodge and phase through incoming enemy attacks. But rather than just moving around, you'll also see, and there's a clip on the blog, the Phantom Dash itself is something that I think is going to be very, very fun to use, and I think that's going to be a nice addition. And Ratchet and Rivet, by the way, they essentially play similarly. They're just two different characters. From what I've heard, Rivet is a very nice addition to the Ratchet and Clank roster, though, and if you're going to be a major character in the Ratchet and Clank roster, you gotta be a character with quite a bit of depth to them, and Rivet seems like she has quite a bit of that, so hopefully she is a nice addition to the overall roster, and by all accounts, it seems like she's going to be. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is, of course, out June 11. Check out the trailer for yourself. It's about a minute and 20 seconds long. You guys can see some of it here, but you can tell that the weapons are going to be as crazy as ever. And that's always been one of the charming elements of Ratchet & Clank. Okay, moving on from that, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade has gotten a bunch of new details regarding some of the characters, Nero, Scarlet, and some of the various battle mechanics, and of course, the Fort Condor minigame is also something that we saw in the latest trailer, and that's rather interesting. I won't go into every single character specifics just in case you guys want to avoid some of these spoilers, but very exciting to see some of these characters being included, and honestly, I'm very excited that characters like Yuffie are gonna have their own story pieces. Like, you have this Intergrade DLC being included intermission, and Yuffie was a character that wasn't really fleshed out in Final Fantasy VII just because she was an optional character and they didn't put much focus in her. And of course, there's another little optional character in Final Fantasy VII that ended up being one of the most popular characters in all of the Final Fantasy universe that, you know, was so popular that he got his own game, and now with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, hopefully we can see him fleshed out in a grander detail, because obviously, if you're familiar with the game, I'm talking about Vincent, and I think Vincent is someone that can have his own story arc really fleshed out in this game. But FF7 Remake Intergrade, yes, it's going to be a $70 purchase if you're looking to buy it outright. It's a $20 upgrade. Of course, the upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version is actually free if you own the game. Now, if you own the PlayStation Plus version, it's not free. You have to actually own a digital or physical copy, but then the intermission DLC will be $20 as well. We got a lot of new screenshots and things of that nature. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Gamatsu has it all laid out pretty nicely. And pretty interesting that we are going to see Scarlet and Nero have a pretty significant role, seemingly, in this intermission DLC, and obviously the relationship between Yuffie and Sonon is going to be something that'll be, let's see how that plays out. Hopefully they do that pretty well, but the trailer gave us a pretty good idea of what to expect. It seems like this is going to be a little bit bigger than I had initially thought, and hopefully Fort Condor leaves us with some replay value as well. Okay, moving on from that, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online for PS5 and Xbox Series will be dropping November 11th. Yes, they are literally putting GTA 5 not only on PS3, not only on PS4, but now we got it on PS5 as well. I'm sure the game's gonna look good. I'm sure it's gonna be 4K 60 frames per second, at least you would hope. They noted the new generation versions of Grand Theft Auto 5 will feature a range of technical improvements, visual upgrades, and performance enhancements to take full advantage of the latest hardware, making the game more beautiful and more responsive than ever. A Rockstar representative told that to GameSpot. I mean, how much better can this game really look? But at the same time, the PlayStation 4 version of GTA 5 wasn't really that big of a blowaway experience. I believe it was at 30 frames per second. Yeah, it was at 30 frames per second. And, you know, if on the PlayStation 5 they can get it to 4K 60 FPS, hey, I guess that's cool. Hopefully, you know, if you never played the single player, I thought the single player of GTA 5 was pretty good, and there's quite a bit of replay value in that, but GTA Online's not really my cup of tea. I know some people absolutely love it, and they get super into it. Again, not really my cup of tea, but hey, I'm sure a lot of people will buy it. I'm sure Rockstar's gonna make a lot of money off of it, so I know why they're doing it. But it is what it is at this point. I mean, we can meme on it all day. I feel like the Skyrim being released on every platform meme has kind of shifted to Grand Theft Auto 5. We're just kind of waiting on that GTA 5 release on the Nintendo Switch at this point, and then we can really start memeing on it and talking about GTA 5 on refrigerators like we did with Skyrim. Lastly, I do want to note that Biome got an explanation trailer, and this trailer gives us a little bit of an insight into the game's world, and it's a 6-minute trailer where the game's creative director talks quite a bit about the game. This is actually a game that, while you look at it initially, you might think, okay, it'll be a fun, quirky little open world game. There's actually quite a bit of a narrative focus in this game as well. It's going to feature multiple endings and a lot of decision making as well. It notes an unusual story with an unusual end. Your actions play a major part in the unfolding of a story where end is coming to the new world. The plague is ruining the land, and the tree of life is bleeding death from its root. The tribes stand divided, in need of someone strong enough to unite them or bring them all down. You are guided through the world by a storyteller that narrates every step of your journey, but it's actions and choices that'll decide how your story of survival ends. I have a hunch that if this game ends up being a really good game, it's going to be a game that I think initially sells really well, but I also think if it delivers, like, the coming days after its release, I think a lot of people are going to end up picking it up, just because its presentation is so different, just because it is a bit of a quirky game, but at the same time, it looks to have this strong focus on its narrative. I think this is one that could be one of these sleeper hits of 2021, and not only be a sleeper, but really be one that does kind of penetrate that gaming zeitgeist into the more casual consumer. That's just my interpretation of the game, just because I've been studying some analytical numbers of the game, and it's pulling really good view numbers on, like, its trailers and whatnot. So I have a hunch that this game is actually going to do a lot better than many of us expect, as long as it's a good game. I mean, if it's like some, you know, if it's a meme game, if it's not that great, it's one thing, but I've been looking at the gameplay of it, and it looks to be a pretty robust RPG, so we'll see how it turns out when it does drop May 25th, and hopefully that gives enough people enough time to finish up, like, the Mass Effect trilogy if you're on that, and then you can slide right into Biome. But that's gonna wrap up this one. Again, Ratchet and Clank new trailer on that. Final Fantasy VII Remake has gotten a bunch of new screenshots, details on that, various characters. Link in the description box below if you want more information on that. GTA 5 seeing another release come November 11th, and Biome coming May 25th, and it has gotten a new trailer as well. That's gonna wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.